An odd reception when the door swung open from the back, and she heard the shouts of newsboys, caught a glimpse of mounds of newspapers. Business must be brisk indeed if the boys were returning this late in the morning to refill their carts. Her publisher appeared in the doorway. David Barnhart was a slender, smooth-faced man, short enough that when his back was turned, he presented the profile of one of his boys. Angry congressmen would sometimes burst into the offices, take him for a newsboy, and bellow for him to fetch his boss at once. Barnhart would shake his head and say that regrettably the publisher was out, but he would pass along their outrage. Before the war, one congressman from South Carolina, a real fire-eater secessionist, had come in waving pistols and demanding a duel. He'd been outraged by insinuations, perfectly true, that he'd fathered several mulatto children by the slaves of his plantation. Barnhart calmly put him off, told him that the man he was looking for had fled to New York to hide from the senator's wrath. The South Carolinian was now raising regiments in his home state, and had a hand in the shelling of Fort Sumter that had precipitated the outbreak of hostilities. Now Barnhart should have been grinning in triumph, but his face was curiously drawn. Newsprint smeared across his cheeks and beneath his eyes, making him look like a petulant raccoon. He clenched a rolled-up newspaper in his blackened fingers. She could only think he was still worried about the threat of General Beauregard's troops, now presumed to be marching on Washington. He'd been fretting about it last night as she finished her story. "Don't worry," Josephine told him. "The Rebs are still at Manassas. A lucky shot or two, and Jeff Davis would be panicking in Richmond instead. The other side was so scattered it would take them a week just to muster their forces. By then, Washington will be ready." "Yes, I know. So you said last night. You could hardly stop talking about it." He sounded so glum, but nothing could penetrate the triumphant feeling in her breast. She smiled and spread the copy of the Clarion she'd bought across the table over the papers Charlie had laid out earlier. Standing proudly on the front page was her 8th lead story in the past month, and her best by far. Every bit of it was true, not a lie or false rumor in the lot. Josephine had spoken directly to generals on both sides, had witnessed key moments of the battle. She had correctly assessed the aftermath of the war and was equally confident in her predictions of how the battle would be seen in the weeks to come. By then, this article would make her famous. She was certain of it. The article was not just accurate, it was cleverly written. She reread her favorite part with more than a little satisfaction. But nobody told Johnny Reb he was licked, and Jackson's men held firm on the hill. Sooner than spit, a fat column of Confederate reinforcements came slithering up the road as eager and venomous as a hungry rattler. Our boys took one look and turned tail like an army of frightened rabbits. No, it wasn't Shakespeare, or even Walt Whitman, but the words had a certain lurid poetry to them. Wait until the New York press read her story. The offers would come rolling in. Ah, so that's why Barnhart was glum. He was afraid he'd lose her to New York. "A shame I couldn't publish this under my real name," she said. "It robs the moment of its glory." "Yes." "Move aside, Horace Greeley. Josephine Breaux will be the best-known writer in the land. If only they knew his true identity, they'd be astonished." She gave Barnhart a smile that let him know she was not serious. But surely he wouldn't deny her a moment of triumph, and yes, even boastfulness. "Oh, they'll know soon enough. They'll all know." "No," she sighed. "I can't have that. It will wreck my ability to move behind the lines. No, Josephine must remain a typesetter, and Joseph the man who gets the good stories. She'll get her due later, yes, but not yet." Barnhart unclenched the newspaper he'd kept rolled tightly in his hands. He unfolded it and spread it over the top of her own. It wasn't the morning Clarion. It was the Washington Standard, their chief rival.